And this is about your stability. They're going to have a union whether you join or not. The question is whether you're going to have benefits, whether you're going to have a future, whether you're going to have the right to make sure you protect it, whether you're going to have the right to deal with if there's some kind of redress needed on the job. Don't worry about their future, my future. Worry about yours. Because they are worried about theirs. It's just that simple. Every fight that we've had, he talked about Dr. King, every fight that we've had as long as I've been alive has been supported by labor. Why? Because the same people in civil rights were the same people in labor. That's right. They weren't different people. They were the same people as a member of our church. I know Bishop, I preached for him. Been on our board at National Action Network, Fred Laird. The same people that member his church are members of unions. It's not two different people. Exactly. You don't become a union person on Monday and die and somebody else on Sunday. You're the same person. You're a union member in church or a church member in the union. So when we would fight against things that were wrong, unions stood up and fought for us and fought with us. Martin Luther King died in Memphis, Tennessee, because he was there for the AFSCME union, garbage workers. What was he there for? The right for them to have a union. The very thing we're meeting about tonight is why Martin Luther King was in Memphis. So why would Dr. King die for something that 43 years later we even debating on whether we should have? I mean, how can you celebrate King's birthday on Monday and wonder do we need a union on Thursday? Well, that's what he was in Memphis for. The city of Memphis said that we do not need a union. Dr. King said, yes, you do. He was on his way to Washington to the Poor People's March. He went through Memphis to make sure that garbage workers, one had been killed, and they didn't want to take care of his family. One didn't deal with his benefits, and they said, we need the right to a union. And they called in Dr. King, and he got killed in Memphis fighting for them. He died sending that message that we must always have the right to protect ourselves. So in his name, we ought to make the Dolans understand that we understand if people would die for us to have a union, what makes you think that we are not going to demand that now? It is just that simple. You don't need a lot of explanation. Nobody should have to beg you to take care of your children. Nobody should have to beg you that you in depots every day, black, white, Latino working together, don't know where danger is, and somebody got to beg you to make sure you're covered. You don't know any day you go to work what's going to happen. How's that going to be covered? Who's going to negotiate? Who's going to protect? And they going to tell you all this, well, you can get all that without the union. How? Out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah, right.
That's the only way. Is union or depend on me. Trust me. I'll take care of you. Well, how do I reach you? Well, just trust me.
That's what they say.
You and I are smarter than that. So I want you to know that this is important. That you are just as important as anybody that makes them millions of dollars. They're involved with the Knicks, right?
Sure.
They have a union. So Carmelo Anthony is more important than you?
Absolutely.
No. Then they start the basketball season late.
For the union.
And they make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But they had enough sense to say, we'll forfeit our millions to have a union before we let you do that. Well, if they would do that, then what are you talking about? None of us in here make the money they make. But they said it's deeper than the money. It's our self-respect and our protection. And we'll go play in Europe before you make us less than having self-respect. If they can give up millions to have a union, then what are we talking about? This ain't hard. This is a matter of self-respect. And if we stand up and just vote, they will have to respect us. The audacity, we asked to meet with them. Just let's sit down and have a conversation. Don't talk about it. Don't want to meet. Why not? Trust me. How you going to trust folk who won't even talk to you? How How you going to get something from people that are not even open to communication? So I wanted to come myself and say this. I love some of those that are here, but I wanted to give this message for myself because I felt it was important you understand what's at stake. I'm tired of seeing those that have all the power and all the money act like we're stupid and make us the help and laugh at us in their mansions while we try to wipe the oil off our hands in the depot to go home and take care of our kids that have no guarantees unless somebody fights for them. That's right. I grew up right here in Brownsville. I went to school at Tilden. I was coming down, and I used to walk up Kings Highway to school from Brownsville because in those days we either rode the bus out here or walked. So I know this area. I grew up out here. Last place my mother lived before she went back down south was on Lennox Road, East 96. I went right across the street to Somers Junior High School. That's now a charter school. So I know what I'm talking about. I know that people didn't care about us. And I know that the only way we got things done is we had to care about ourselves. And the only way we can care about ourselves is if we come together and stand together, because we were not born with riches, but we were born with numbers. And if we put them numbers together, we can make things happen. I tell them all every day I'm on TV or radio show, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, Bishop, but I was born with a shovel in my hand. That's how we started. But if we unite them shovels, God will give us the strength to do what we need to do. We have each other. We understand each other because we all coming out of the same way together. Crabs in a barrel. Sometimes we fight. Sometimes, Tony, we claw each other down. You know how you stop crabs in the barrel from clawing each other down? You rip the lid off the barrel. Because if there's enough room for all the crabs, we wouldn't have to be climbing over each other. The reason they make us climb is they got us all caged in. It's time to lift the lid off the dolans. So we got room for all of us. So what they think is crabs is really united, self-respecting workers that's protecting our children. Because whether they realize it or not, we love our kids just like they love them. I'm with CWA, I'm with the Bishop and Assemblyman Perry and Sister Bertha, all of us that are here tonight. And anything I can do, I'm there. I told him, come to the radio show, TV show, national action, whatever we need to do. Because I think it is an insult that we can sit back and watch people bounce balls and get millions. And they have a union. But we're at a depot and we are just supposed to trust them. No, we'll trust them like the millionaires trust them. Give me a union.
That's true, sir.